Welcome back to Truth for Only. Today we're going to be reacting to Kamala's first interview since the debate. I think this is actually her first interview by herself since she's been nominated as the candidate for the Democratic Party. I heard it was kind of shaky. Let's see how she responded to the questions that were asked.
Pleasure to meet you. Thanks for your time today. Our audience appreciates your time.
Of course.
As you know, we're sitting here in a state and arguably in front of an audience that 54 days from now could decide the outcome of this presidential election. Yeah. You hear it more than I do. People want to know more about you and about your specific plans. At the debate the other night, you talked about creating an opportunity economy. I wonder if we could drill down on that a little bit. When we talk about bringing down prices and making life more affordable for people, what are two specific things you have in mind for that?
Well, I'll start with this. I grew up a middle-class kid. My mother raised my sister and me. She worked very hard. She was able to finally save up enough money to buy our first house when I was a teenager. I grew up in a community of hardworking people, construction workers and nurses and teachers.
I noticed that she's always like rambling on about her life instead of actually answering the question. She's just going to start talking about her childhood and how hard it was and her mother worked hard. She's not saying anything new whatsoever. She's not going to tell what she's going to actually achieve during a 4-year term as president. She's just going to talk about her childhood for the entire interview.
I try to explain to some people who may not have had the same experience, but a lot of people will relate to this. I grew up in a neighborhood of folks who were very proud of their lawn, and
what are you talking about? They're proud of their lawn? So he's asking you what you're going to do for the country. What are your plans for the country? And you're talking about people being proud of their lawn. I don't know how people in their right mind vote for her. Why didn't you guys select RFK? I don't know how RFK just completely gets skipped over, and this is the best that you guys have to offer.
And I was raised to believe and to know that all people deserve dignity, and that we as Americans have a beautiful character. We have ambitions and aspirations and dreams, but not everyone necessarily has access to the resources that can help them fuel those dreams and ambitions. So when I talk about building an opportunity economy, it is very much with the mind of investing in the ambitions and aspirations and the incredible work ethic of the American people, and creating opportunity for people, for example, to start a small business. My mother worked long hours, and our neighbor helped raise us. We used to call her, I still call her, our second mother. She was a small business owner. I love our small business owners. I learned who they are from my childhood, and she was a community leader. She hired locally, she mentored. Our small businesses are so much a part of the fabric of our community.
She's the type of person to be asked a question and ramble on for 3 minutes, and then you get so lost in all the fluff that you forgot what the question was. I don't even remember what the original question was at this point, because she was just talking about her childhood the entire time.
Not to mention, really, I think the backbone of America's economy. So my opportunity economy plan includes giving startups a $50,000 tax deduction to start their small business. It used to be $5,000. Nobody can start a small business with $5,000. But investing in people's innovative ideas and giving them the ability to go for it. Opportunity economy means, look, we don't have enough housing in America. We have a housing supply shortage. And what that means, in particular for so many younger Americans, the American dream is elusive. It's just actually not attainable. So part of my plan is to work with the private sector and housing developers to give them a tax credit, to be able to partner with us as the government, to build, and my goal is 3 million new homes by the end of my first term. In addition, to help people who just want to get their foot in the door, literally. And so giving first-time home buyers a $25,000 down payment assistance to be able to just get in the door, and then they will do the work that they need to do to save and to pay that mortgage and to build.
So you're going to incentivize people that cannot afford to get a home. So they're going to buy this home that they can't afford. Then we're going to have a other issue in the housing market where there's so many foreclosures and bankruptcies and people just can't afford the payment because you've given them false hope that everything was going to be okay, and you gave them this tax credit and you just expected them to be responsible with that. This is going to create a whole set of problems. And how do you just come up with this money? Like saying that you're going to give a tax credit and do this and do that, partner up with the housing development. But where is this money going to come from? And we all know that they're going to just print out more money. And then once they print out more money, it's just going to further inflation. And then we're going to be in this cycle again where we have to increase interest rates to lower inflation.
Build wealth for themselves and their family. These are some examples of what I mean when I talk about an opportunity economy, and a lot of it has to do with just the community I was raised in and the people that, I admired who work hard, and deserve to have, their dreams fulfilled because they're prepared to work for it.
You talked at the debate and at previous appearances about turning the page on the past. And in fact, here today in Johnstown,
turning the page? Joe Biden has been the president the last 3.5 years. You have been the vice president. So what do you mean turning the page? Are you turning the page from Trump or are you turning the page from Biden? You have to elaborate on this. What you mean by turning the page?
you're talking about a new way forward.
Yeah.
I think some people have a question, given maybe your current role as vice president of the United States, how different you are from Joe Biden. And so I wonder if there are one or two spots, policy areas or approaches where you would say, I'm a different person.
Well, I'm obviously not Joe Biden. And, I offer a new generation of leadership. And so, for example, thinking about developing and creating an opportunity economy where it's about investing in areas that really need a lot of work. And maybe focusing on, again, the aspirations and the dreams, but also just recognizing that at this moment in time, some of the stuff we could take for granted years ago, we can't take for granted anymore. For example, another plan that I have that is a new approach is to expand the child tax credit to $6,000 for young families for the first year of their child's life, because that is obviously a very critical stage of development of a child. And a lot of...
So what about the second year? What about the third year? What about the fourth year? You're just going to give them a tax credit for the first year or a tax credit for a year. That won't do anything for most people.
When it comes to gun ownership, where do you draw the line in America on gun ownership and gun use?
Well, like you said, Brian, I am a gun owner, and Tim Walz, my running mate, is also a gun owner. We're not taking anybody's guns away. I support the Second Amendment, and I support reasonable gun safety laws. Part of my approach to this is I was a career prosecutor for most of my career. I have personally prosecuted homicide cases. I have personally looked at autopsies. I have personally seen what assault weapons do to the human body. And so I feel very strongly that it is consistent with the Second Amendment and your right to own a gun to also say we need an assault weapons ban. They're literally tools of war.
See, it's going to start with assault weapons, and then it's going to go into weapons in general. You can't give these people an inch because they'll take a mile. So once you start to let them trample over your rights, they'll just continue. It doesn't just stop there. And I think people need to wake up and actually realize that.
I'm supported by over 200 Republicans who worked for both Presidents Bush, John McCain, Mitt Romney. I'm supported by the former Vice President Dick Cheney, former Congressmember Liz Cheney. And I think people are more willing now.
Who are they? Why are she acting like those people represent the Republican Party more than anybody else? There are so many Republicans that don't support you whatsoever. These few names that you just listed don't mean anything.
My best friend from kindergarten is still my best friend. I think that I have a career that really, and I said it the other day, as a career prosecutor, I never asked a victim of crime, were they a Republican or a Democrat. The only thing I ever asked them is, are you okay?
Why would you ever ask them, are they Republican or Democrat? Why would that ever be the right time? I don't think people go up to people when there's a case of emergency and be like, are you a Republican or a Democrat? What are you? I'm only going to help you if you're one or the other. Nobody does that. That was like such a pointless thing to even bring up.
And I think that's the approach that most Americans want, regardless of who they voted for in the last election.
No duh.
In terms of turning the page and charting the way forward.
I imagine you're looking forward to cooking Sunday dinner again.
I am looking forward. Yes, I am looking forward to cooking. With the whole family gets involved, the kids each have their role.
She can't cook. She did not change my mind whatsoever, once again. It just seems pretty typical. Any interview that she hops on, she pretty much saying the exact same thing. She's not even switching it up a little bit. It's just verbatim at this point. Let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys out in the next video.